thank you so much for joining me for day 15 of 30 days of sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life. This is round 13, and today's sketch you can see in the top left hand corner there is by Lyn Furlonger. I'll put any details that I have for Lyn in the description box down below. So once again, I've grabbed my print shop collection. I am absolutely bound and determined to get this used up. There's still quite a few layouts left in it when I look at what I've got left, but it's really fun trying to get a collection used up, especially one as big as this one. So I've grabbed all my scraps and I'm focusing in on the blues and yellows today, and I'm documenting some photos from our trip to Boston and the area back in 2015. This is our trip over to, where were we going to? Martha's Vineyard. Gosh, I forgot about that. It was the first day we got our hire car. We had a few days in Boston first, and then we got a hire car and did a little tour, and then went back to Boston for our last couple of nights. So I wanted to do a lot of journaling on this page just to explain that that's what we'd done. It's quick. It's easy to forget when you have such a busy week exactly what you did and when. So I really wanted to get that down in my journaling on this page. So I've got 2 6x4 photos and 1 4x4, which I cut down ever so slightly. So I'm focusing more on the left-hand side sketch that Lyn's given, and it's definitely just given me a jumping point. I'm trying to create the layers that she's got behind her photos, but I am having 2 separate areas, and I've also used a tag as a nod to her sketch as well. So it was definitely my jumping point, but I wouldn't say that I followed the sketch closely today. So you can see I'm fiddling and faffing with all these pieces. I tried to keep my scraps in the size that they are. Some of these I have trimmed down before I started filming, where I cut circles out and things like that, because I definitely wanted blocky pieces to use. This piece I didn't want to use a whole strip when I knew that I wouldn't need to. So I'm just adding a little bit to the top and a little bit to the bottom so that I've got some more for a future layout. And I've left all my faffing in just so that you can see that I know it's sometimes in my videos it looks like layering comes ever so easily to me, but it doesn't always. Sometimes I really struggle, and I think my problem here was that I had too many navy blues that were fighting with one another and didn't provide enough contrast between each other. But I got there in the end, so I'm just adding some of this hexagon paper to the bottom there, and I switched out that top piece because it was bugging me that the hexagons went a different way. On the piece that I had there originally, it had the flat side at the tops of the hexagons, and the piece that I put at the bottom had the pointy bits at the tops of the hexagons. And most people probably wouldn't notice that, but I just knew that it would have really annoyed me had I left that. So I've just gone round, I didn't make you watch it, and glued everything down. I just peel things back. You've seen me doing that before if you've watched my layouts, and then glue them down to each other so that it's one mat, as you can see here. And now I'm just going around with my fingernails and distressing all the edges. These papers are predominantly from the 12x12 paper pad, so they're a little bit thinner than the open stock, so it's much easier to distress them with my fingernails. And when you've got so many little bits and pieces, it's easier to glue it together as a mat and then distress, rather than distressing each of the pieces, and then most of your distressing gets hidden behind them anyway. So that was my reasoning for doing that. So now I'm working on this right hand cluster. It's just a picture of the clam chowder that I had on the boat on the way back to Cape Cod. But it was really nice, and I just wanted to have that documented, so I am. So I'm just, again, building up the layers. There's that tag that I spoke about. I really wanted to make sure I got a tag in because there are quite a few tags on Lyn's sketch, so it was important for me to include that element there. And again, focusing in on the blacks and whites, the blues and yellows. Now that one I cut from the speciality paper, the vellum, and it was day 1 of our road trip, so I really wanted to get that in somewhere. And when I was watching and editing the video, I realised that I was trying desperately to hide the number 1 on that tag, and that would have worked perfectly. So I have no idea why I didn't really think of that. Obviously just wasn't happy with the design element or something or other of having that number 1 showing. But there you go. So again, fiddling and faffing with this side. I found it just as difficult as the left-hand side. I don't know what was going on with me when I was filming this, but I did get there in the end, and I'm very happy with the overall look of the layout. It's a very busy layout, but I am happy with it. So this is one of the cut aparts from one of the 12x12 sheets, and I'm just using that as a layer, and I'm more or less starting again because I just couldn't get it right. So starting with that with the paper clip showing at the bottom, and then layering these other pieces. I really wanted to get that black and white paper in because it looks like the waves of the sea, so it was important for me to include that. And then I also wanted to use that grid paper on the right hand side, the long strip that I've got of that turquoisey blue, because I've got that as the long strip on the left hand side, so I just wanted to mirror what was going on there. It brings cohesion to the layout if you can mirror what you're doing in different areas. So much happier with the layering there. Just going to bring this chevron piece back in, and then I can start gluing it all down. So exactly the same as before, just peeling things back and gluing them to one another, and then I shall stick it down as one piece. And I stick it down before I distress the edges. I found that easier on this section of paper. So just checking that everything's as I want it to be. And you'll see I peel this up and then manage to move the paper with my hand. I quite often find I need 3 hands when I'm doing all this. So see how that moves. So just having to move it back. So, and I'm not convinced that I actually stick that tag down. I fiddle about with it, but I can't remember if I actually add some glue to it. Anyway, there was probably enough glue from all the other bits that I've stuck down for it to stay. So again, distressing the edges, as I mentioned, I've glued everything down and now decide that I want to bring this piece in. I just felt that it needed a little bit more height on the right-hand side, but bringing that blue piece up higher wouldn't have worked. So this is a branding strip from the same paper, showing the design that was on the reverse. It's yellow hand-drawn stars. So just adding that in behind the photo and on top of that blue piece. So that's the main structure of the layout. Just distressing those edges. And then I can come in with the stickers and things now. I must apologise as well. I've got a new setup on my desk and it's got a ring light with a holder for my phone, which gives me much more space. But that ring light is really quite glaring on this mat, so I'll have to see what I can do with that. So I do apologise for that glare that you've got on your screen. This is one of the washi stickers from the Papery paper pack. I just trimmed off the edge so that I could fit it on the side of that page because it was too big. So I trimmed off the top and bottom and just adding that in there. And then this is another piece from the Papery pack, and I'm just trimming it off so that I can tuck it down. Trying to decide where to put it. I thought at the top originally, but then I would have lost all that lovely layering. So decided to add it. In the end, it goes on the right-hand side. But I just trim it down so that it fits much better. So you've just got the graph paper showing now. So yeah, try it on the left-hand side and then in the end decide to add it to the right. And I do add something underneath that because otherwise it just looks like it's floating. So it definitely needs another layer. And that piece I've chopped off, I'm not going to waste, so I just tuck that under that layer on the right-hand side there. Just adding another layer, another step, bringing those two clusters, if you like, of photos closer together. So getting that situated. And then this is the piece that I add underneath just to bring it all together. It's just like a little notebook piece. Again, it's one of the cut aparts from the 12 by 12 papers. So just adding that down underneath. And I like that stepped look. I feel that it completes it much better than just having that one piece floating on the side there. Just checking that it's straight. And then I'm going to write the details on that little tag. So I've just put the date at the top, which was 10th of November 2015, and then the subject is Martha's Vineyard, because that's where we were getting the boat to. So now coming in with the sticker book, and there's a sticker that says Get Cozy, and I just think that's really nice of the selfie that we took while we were on the boat waiting to get to Martha's Vineyard. And then just having a look through the wordy bits to see if there's anything there, and I found a couple. One says a bright idea, and the other one says good day. And I just layer those over the edge of that photo mat there. This tab says explore, so that's perfect. And then I'm just trying to think what I add next. I think there's another one, yes. And this one says so good. And I think about adding it to these photos, but in the end I add it to the clam chowder because that makes more sense. It really was so good. So just looking to see what else I can find now on the chipboard sheet. And there's a lovely little tab that says the best. So I'm going to add that to the top. I do love these tabs in the Vicki Boutin collections. And then a sticker from the 6 by 12 sticker sheet. This is all I've got left from it, so I consolidated everything onto one little piece of sticker paper. So that little tag says photo, and then I added another piece at the bottom of the photo of us, and it just says it was a memorable day, which I think works nicely. So now onto my title, and I'm just writing Boston to Cape Cod using my Bella Boulevard Florence alphabet. It's my favourite alphabet. I've grabbed the navy again. It's definitely the one that's most used by me. And now I was going to say I'm going to have my journaling, but I'm obviously just looking through the sticker sheet to see what else I can find. This little hello sticker, I've been trying to use this on a couple of layouts, and I end up adding that to that clam chowder at the bottom. So now I'm coming in with my journaling. And it's quite a lot of journaling, and I've just put, we got up and checked out as early as possible, went round the corner to collect our hire car, and we were on our way. No sat-nav nor naps meant we relied on downloading maps on Wi-Fi and Starbucks en route to Woods Hole at the bottom of Cape Cod to get our boat over to Martha's Vineyard. Unfortunately, the rain came as we arrived, so we didn't explore too much. Once back at Woods Hole, we didn't delay, driving straight to our hotel in Provincetown. So it's those little details that I wanted to add on, because you quickly forget where you went and when. And I was having to check with Ross before I started the journaling that was indeed what happened, and it was. So that's nice. And when I Googled, there are 3 ports that you can go to Martha's Vineyard from Cape Cod, so I was just checking which one we'd use, but we both recognised Woods Hollow, so it was definitely that. So I'm nearly done now. I'm just going around, and I've added that wax twine to the tag, and I'm still trying to find somewhere to put this number 1. And I decided at the top here, I felt like it was a little bit empty at the top there. Maybe the title should have been a bit higher, but I'm not quite sure, because I like the way it was nestled in that little corner gap next to the photo. So I've just added it to the top there and then trimmed off the edges. And I'm just looking on the sticker sheet because I remembered seeing a sticker that said day. So adding day to the number 1 to get day 1. And that's it. Please do check the description box down below for everybody else who's joining in. And other than that, I shall see you tomorrow for day 16. Thanks again. Bye.